As many of you would have heard by now, the universe is huge, so insanely huge that if we were to take a break from our mundane lives and just think about the sheer scale of these things out there, we'd likely go crazy. That's the reason most of us don't bother anything outside our immediate surroundings, as our brains are simply not equipped to handle thinking and stuff like that. If we did think about it, as many people like scientists, astronomers, or stone college students do, we'd realize that the universe is full of scary things you'd probably never put in a children's book. If we ventured into darkest corners, we'd find it hiding many fascinating and concerning mysteries we are yet to uncover. We have a lot of doomsday scenarios going around, depending on where you are in the world. Many cultures believe that the end of the world would be dramatic, which is cool by us as long as we get to see some cool visuals. The most dangerous and plausible doomsday scenarios, however, come from actual scientists themselves, the Higgs boson doomsday being one of them. Many of them, including Stephen Hawking, believe it could happen or is already happening. It starts with a bubble filled with fluctuating Higgs energy, which should remain consistent for the universe to stay stable. The bubble would spread like the vacuum, fundamentally reprogramming and, in some cases, disintegrating atoms as it goes. Some scientists think that it has already started, and bubble may be on our way from the dark parts of the universe soon. Though others say that it's well into future and we may be long gone before it ever makes here. Galactic cannibalism is the last type of cannibalism we'd want to hear about, even if general cannibalism is pretty gross too. Just the idea that there are some bigger galaxies out there gobbling up other small ones, and the possibility it may happen to us is quite scary. There's nothing to worry about though, as it's not going to happen in the near future. Many other galaxies out there, however, are getting eaten by bigger ones. It's not that far away from us either. Andromeda, the galaxy most familiar to the layman and a part of our local group, actually devoured a sister galaxy of Milky Way around 2 billion years ago. It's also expected to do that with Milky Way in around 4.5 billion years. But by the time humans hopefully have developed travel between galaxies, or would have long died out, whoever decides to stay though would be subjected to one hell of a light show. If we knew about all the massive things going on in the universe, our life may start to look a bit tiny. Some of those things are so massive that they truly demonstrate how insignificant we are. One of them is supermassive black hole ejected from its galaxy. Scientists calculated that it would have taken the same amount of energy as 100 million supernovas to throw a black hole into space. It's not just any black hole either, but by far the biggest black hole on the move we have ever recorded. The energy came from the merger of two black holes, center of the galaxy, because of course that's the thing that keeps happening in the space too. Out of all the things that can potentially go wrong, a black hole seems to be the worst. Black holes, as we all know, are super dense parts of space with unimaginable high gravitational fields, so much so that even light can't escape them. They eat up everything in the gravitational field, which is why it is a good idea to stay away from them. It's a problem though. When it starts moving, you see, much like everything else in the universe, black holes can find their own motion trajectories. In some instances, they start moving at immense speeds, eating up everything in their path. It's not a distant phenomenon. Even a black hole as big as Jupiter is currently dashing across the Milky Way. It was earlier assumed to be stationary, though according to some recent research, it's really not. Whatever is alive has to die at some point, something that applies to everything in the universe. The death of stars, as you may remember from science class, is one of the most interesting phenomena in the known universe. Every star we see in the sky is already dead and the light hasn't reached us yet, or will die at some point in the future, including our sun. That's the natural way of things, except when they decide not to do that, in rare cases, stars may die and come back to life like nothing happened. Something that baffles us as well as scientists. They recently discovered zombie stars that should have died in the supernova stages but somehow survived and are now hurtling across the space with renewed sense of life and adventure. We don't quite understand them, which is why we hope they stay away from us. If you have spent your fair share of time on the internet and science forums, you'd know that visible universe is a tiny fraction of whole thing. An overwhelming majority of it's made up of something called dark matter. We could have come up with a more scientific name, but as we know, absolutely nothing about it. Dark matter is the most accurate description of what we think it is. We know that it permeates through everything and huge swaths of universe are made up of it. Even more mysterious, however, is the galaxy without any dark matter. It was earlier postulated that whatever dark matter is, the universe needs it to keep things together. No matter how boring our lives are, we can take some comfort in the fact that something interesting is going on in the universe at all time. From massive shows of light to dying stars, it's certainly not a boring place. Some of those events are so humongous that we'd rather get bored on a lazy afternoon here on Earth than find ourselves anywhere near them. One of them is rare collisions of three galaxies, like the one we observed in 2007. While two galaxies collide with each other more often than we'd think, it's rare to see three of them do it. What looks like just a blob of light in the photos is three massive clusters of stars emerging with each other, all the while forming stars at rapid rate. There are quite a few things in universe we don't understand, which is cool as we can't know everything. It's a real setback though, when we think we have figured something out, only to later find out that we hadn't figured it out at all. Case in point, the brightest and biggest black hole found in the early universe. It's at the center of quasar. A quasar is a bright huge thing with a black hole at its center. Scientists only recently discovered it, known as SDSS J0100 plus 2802. It's as bright as 420 trillion suns, and by far the most massive quasar we have discovered. We don't know how it formed, as nothing in the early phases of universe have got so big, which also makes it most mysterious black hole we know of. The universe is quite a cold place, as the heat of the stars is only enough to affect a tiny part of it. We know that it's cold, though we don't know the extent of how cold it can get. According to some scientists, the absolute coldest place in the universe is Boomerang Nebula. A nebula is a giant mass of gas and dust in space. It's so cold, cloaking in at minus 457.87 Fahrenheit on the average, that scientists have been trying to understand exactly what happened to it for a while now. And as per recent study, there's a perfectly good explanation for it. Apparently, it was ejected out after a star threw itself into another bigger star, going through the last stage of its life, causing most of its matter to be ejected out as cold burst. While it's still quite a bit away from us to be of any danger, it's one of the places we should all agree to never explore, in case we do figure out interstellar travel. For something that is named strange matter, you wouldn't think that it mean much. It sounds like something scientists came up with when they couldn't explain something and wanted to keep it for later. Look it up online though, you'd realize it by far one of the weirdest part of theoretical physics. In essence, strange matter, which may contain lot of types of particles, isn't like anything we have seen before. You see, usual matter is made up of atoms with nucleus, which contains the protons and neutrons. They are in turn made up of quarks, which stay neatly packed in, give everything around us their unique properties. In strange matter though, the quarks run free, with seemingly no boundaries or rules on what they are supposed to do. It's completely different type of matter and, scarily, could turn everything it comes in contact with to its own properties. Yes, a tiny lump of strange matter anywhere in the universe could be on its way here now, completely changing and essentially destroying the very nature of the matter around it. Fortunately, strange matter hasn't been proven to exist anywhere in the universe, so it's only on paper for now. Outer space can be considered an absolute horror show of unending blackness, extraordinarily hostile to life. Don't you agree with that? Share thoughts in the comments, as I would love to read them. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon so that you're notified when I'm back again with another amazing video.